Hey, welcome to another episode of the Philosophy Podcast. I am your host, Controversy, and to my right, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, none other than Mr.
DARREN Love.
And together, we are the Philosophy Podcast. Thank you to you guys for tuning in to a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in once again this week, guys. And like we always say, if you're familiar with the show, what is on the agenda for this week, mate? What is today's
hot topic?
That's it. What's today's hot topic, mate?
I thought we'd talk about life.
Life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what is it?
Wow.
I mean, we're lucky.
It's a good one.
Lucky to have life, really, aren't we?
Oh, most definitely. So this week we're talking all about
life.
That's it. What are your thoughts and your ideas and everything else on life, mate? I'll let you have the floor first.
Oh, thank you.
Very generous, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect this to happen. One, you know. And yeah, it's I think it's up to you whether you want to enjoy it or not. I think.
Life is what you make it.
Yeah.
I guess is what you were saying essentially.
Yeah.
As old, my old sayings.
Oh, not another old saying.
Yeah. Like my old sayings, but that is one of them, isn't it? That's a famous one that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Life is what you make it. Everyone's heard that before. And that's so essential. Like life is literally, like for me, every day that I wake up, I say three things. I am thankful, I am grateful, and I am appreciative to be alive, to have another day, and just to be able to live. You know what I mean? Like I'm the type of person that I'm that appreciative of just of life and understanding that, like we say it all the time, but I will reiterate it again tonight. And life is the greatest blessing. You can't, without life, there's nothing. There's you can't. All of your experience, you won't have any of your experiences if you see what I mean. So give thanks. Yeah.
I mean, life could have been different if we were born on a different planet.
Yeah. In a different star system or something.
This is life as we know it on Earth.
Yeah.
On planet Earth. And I think, like, when I think about all the other planets, like Saturn, Mars and whatever, and I think of Earth, I think how beautiful it is, and I think it's one of the only planets that's got breathing oxygen in it, to make life happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, like, this planet really is the only place that has life on it that I know.
Yeah, that we know of. I personally believe that there's other life forms out there for certain. I definitely believe in that, and there's quite a few different life forms out there. But yeah, there's so many. Well, according to scientists, let's say, according to astrophysicists and all these different people, there's X amount of millions of different galaxies and planets and star systems, and
not just that. I think there's lots of different life forms as well. Like for instance, a tree, that's a life form. It is alive, but how does a tree view life? It's, I think, yeah. I think, like, I mean, there's so many stars out there, and the sun is our closest star. We call it the sun, but really, in fact, it is a star. And I think, like, all those other stars that we see, I mean, in this country, the UK, you don't see so many stars, but if you go somewhere like Africa or, I don't know, Alaska,
somewhere else on the equator,
you'll see so many stars. Do you know what I mean? Billions of them. But I think, like, every star out there has probably got another few planets around them. Each one of them, they're like suns. Each one of those stars are like suns. If you went close to them, So, and the chances of life being on one of those planets is, I mean, it's happened here. We've actually witnessed that this sun, I mean, I've never seen all the other planets myself, you know, but they say there's 9 or 10 planets, whatever, out there. But this is a fact, isn't it? Earth is actually here, you know, so, and life has happened. So why can't it happen on another planet, you know, around another star? Do you know what I mean? It's happened there. So, you know, this is a miracle, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That this has all happened, but it's happened.
Exactly.
So, you know, this miracle's come true in a funny way, you know?
Mm.
I mean, this planet without life is a miracle. When you think about it, if there was no life on it at all, you know, and if there's no life in the universe, that'd be a miracle still, you know, because the universe is here, you know, you've got like objects flying around somewhere, you know, there's a place, you know, and that's a miracle, you know, an actual place.
There's a creation.
Yeah, you know, without life, that is. It's still a miracle.
Still a miracle, of course it is, because it's still existing. Still existing, isn't it? It's still,
That's right. That's what I think anyway, you know, I think, you know, the Earth's a miracle coming here, and then everyone being born is a miracle. But not just that, you know, having a memory, you know, like some people are born without memories, like we were talking about memory last week. That's another miracle, just having memory, and having eyes, and having ears, you know, that you can hear all the sounds, you know, and that's phenomenal. And most animals and birds have got ears. They can hear sounds too, you know, just like we can. They're no different, you know. I mean, even if I said hello to a bird, they would hear it as hello. You know what I mean? But they wouldn't understand what I meant. Yeah,
of course.
Maybe a parrot would, but you know. But I think like even animals themselves, they've got a memory, but they're, you know, not as big as ours. Do you know what I mean? We're very lucky. We're very, very lucky and blessed, I think, to be a human being. If you see what I mean, you know. I mean, I'd rather be a human than a bird. Or an animal.
Oh yeah, of course. Likewise.
You know, because I think as a human being, you can do a lot more. You can do a lot. You know, we've got hands for one. You know, that, you know, like birds haven't got hands, have they? They can't sew. Can you imagine birds sewing? You know, knitting and all that, you know, that's what I meant, knitting. You know, you know, I think we're very, very lucky, you know, and I don't think people actually, they're aware of it even, if you see what I mean, or they think about it, maybe.
I think a lot of people take it for granted, because it's just like anything else, mate, in life. It's just, when you get so used to something, right, a lot of times, just naturally as human beings, people become complacent. Once they get used to a certain scenario, certain setting, certain environment, certain routine, people become complacent. That's why a lot of people are so resistant and hesitant when it comes to making changes or making a change, if you see what I mean, well, especially drastic changes in their life. So I think a lot of people do take life for granted in a sense, you know, and I think sometimes people forget to appreciate, like, just to be grateful, you know, that you're here. Like, you know, you won't be able to experience, but good or bad, whatever it may, however your life has turned out, however your journey has been from the time you were born up into this point now, whether it be good or bad, you wouldn't have been able to experience any of that if you weren't alive, if you see what I mean. So, and some people will be like, oh, well, it's all it was is that two people came together and had sex and obviously procreated. But it's just, to me, it's much more of a much more magical thing than that, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the power that two human beings can come together and have intercourse, and from that, if they choose to, they can both, especially if the female that you're with, especially if she's very fertile and she's ovulating, especially at that time, the chances of her getting pregnant are very high, if you see what I mean. So yeah, it's quite.
I think it's very magical.
It's a magical thing, you know. It's not just as some people would just say, oh, you know, anyone can do it, and that is true, but it is still an amazing, you know.
It's very.
But not everyone makes it. Sometimes people have miscarriages. Sometimes people have stillbirths. You know, things happen as we know. So not everyone gets the chance to make it.
No.
You know. And as we always kind of jokingly laugh and talk about as well, only one of those actual sperm is the one that the one that impregnates that egg.
All the other ones die.
All the other ones die. So it's literally the one that you know. Yeah, the one that won the race, essentially. You know, the one that was able to make it there first and get there first was the one that was able to...
I think actually once one sperm reaches in, the egg
selects it.
No, yeah, that's true. Right? But once it's inside, right, the egg actually releases a chemical to kill all the other sperms.
Oh, okay.
So they can't get in.
Okay, yeah.
It makes sense, really. Kill them all, you know, so no one else comes in. You know, and we're lucky, do you know what I mean? Because I mean, you can imagine all those sperms would get in eventually.
Yeah.
If no chemical.
If there was nothing released.
That's right. You know, so you know, you think about that one now.
How amazing the human body is, especially the female human body.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't go in to that egg, all right, you would have been stimulated by this chemical, you know, and died like.
Yeah.
But yeah, sperms are tiny little tadpoles, aren't they?
Yeah,
you know, when you think about it, you know, and how do they actually know what they're kind of doing in a funny way? You know, how do they know what they're swimming to in a funny way? You know.
Yeah.
You know, it must be all to do with chemicals.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Heading towards a chemical smell or something, you know, something like that. They must have some sort of. I reckon they can smell or something. You know, they must have some sort of senses, sperms. If you ask me, you know, I don't think they got eyes, all right, but they.
Well, I was going to say definitely, obviously, that's why I say to people when you like, you know, we sometimes as men, especially in particular, we don't always think about it like this, right? But when you release, that is your life force. Hence why we're able to create children with the right female who is fertile enough to, you know what I mean, able to take on our seed and then reproduce. You know. So yeah, like we have to remember that when we're releasing that, it's our life force. You know. That's why even like okay, I might have said it before, but just like a common example. When you've got boxers who are like professional boxers or people who fight and all this kind of stuff, you'll see a lot of the time that the coaches and stuff like this would recommend that they not have any intercourse for like a week or 2 weeks before the fight, because they basically say the less testosterone you have in your body, because obviously when you release, you're releasing your life force, which is testosterone and minerals, all the minerals and stuff that are comprised of what it is. So they basically said, basically they asked them to refrain from having sex or releasing anyway, if they're going to have sex, if you see what I mean, a couple of weeks before the fight, so that they stay strong. They say that it could weakens them if they do. If you see what I mean.
I believe it. You know,
and they're not as strong on they're not as like strong on their feet or as agile as they would kind of like normally be, or you know.
So I mean, not talking about sex, you know, and having orgasms. You know, I've had. I must admit, in my past, I had sex for a few years, you know, because I'm divorced, whatever, you know, and single now. But you know, I've had a number of girlfriends in my past, you know, and I've had sex quite a lot in them, putting the kind of way, you know, I've had a bit of a sex life, let's put it that way, you know. And I can remember, you know, sort of, you know, when you have an orgasm, you feel so knackered. You just, you know, normally go to sleep.
A lot of time people go to sleep.
You know, just takes your energy straight away, you know, zaps you. You know,
but when you're young,
and
especially when you're young, and especially if you're young and you're like, you know, of a certain age and you're around females and you know, you know, a bad looking fella and you're getting a bit of action here and there, you're not thinking about it like that because you're young and you're having fun and enjoying yourself, if you see what I mean. But it's when you get older that you start to realise, say, hang on, like, you know, really, you know, constantly sleeping around and, you know, 5 days a week or however many days a week, you're just weakening yourself, if you see what I mean. You know? It's, But yeah, going back to life, you know what I mean? We're talking about the, you know, the makeup and what comprises of life, essentially, what makes up the life, you know, what creates the life. I just want to remind people not to just, you know, not to take life for granted, you know, especially our loved ones and that kind of thing when it comes to, you know, life as well, you know, making sure that we're checking in on our loved ones and still maintaining a good relationship with all of our loved ones and the people that we care about, and, you know, trying to see them as often as you can, and, you know, all those kind of things, you know, because it is literally, as I had a mate that used to say, here today, gone tomorrow. And that is a reality sometimes for some people, you know what I mean? It can be that, you know, it could be, you know, I've got plenty of friends that I've lost in the past, you know. So it is literally like that, you know. You've got to remember to, you know, to check in with your loved ones and try to maintain you know, a best relationship as possible, you know. It's not always easy, you know, because you don't pick your family, you know. You know, but yeah, just do your best to try and maintain, you know, to have good relations with everyone, you know, because life is short, you know.
That's right. I think that's what a lot of people don't actually realise. Life is temporary.
Yeah. And when you're young, like we talked about before, you don't really think so much about your own mortality, do you? You think, I'm going to live forever. You kind of have a mentality when you're young that you're kind of going to live forever, don't you? Kind of like, you think to yourself, I might live forever.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember being young, you know, being a bit dangerous as well with my life, you know, taking more risk and things, you know.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I don't really do anymore, you know, like take risk with my own life, you know, because I don't want to lose it. You know, like I say, it's temporary, and I want to live as long as possible, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think, you know, people should appreciate that we've got oxygen to breathe in, you know, and we've got smoke if we want it to breathe in. You know.
Yeah.
And
if you so choose.
I think people don't realise how lucky they are sometimes, you know, how much we've actually got. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And it's still not enough, is it?
Yeah, well, it's never enough. It's never enough for some people, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I can see every decade in a kind of way going backwards, all right? And I know that they didn't have like supermarkets like we got today 100 years ago, do you know what I mean? And we just got so much choice now in a funny way, you know? But I know things are difficult in different ways in this life, you know, in this modern world. But I do find that things are getting easier, you know, like money, for instance, you know. In the olden days, we used to count our money, you know, and all this and all that kind of stuff. But today, it's just like that. You just got to, you know, it's like the air in a funny way, you know. It's a bit easier. You know, I feel like technology is kind of making life a lot easier for people, you know, even in travel, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to Isle of Wight today, you know, and just got back this afternoon, and I've had a nice holiday, you know, and I think even holidays make life a little bit better, you know, if you go to different places, you know. I think it's really important to just explore, you know. It's not, I wouldn't want to stay in the same place all my life, do you know what I mean? You know. Let's say I lived in a cave. I wouldn't want to live in that cave all my life. Do you know what I mean? You need to come out of the cave.
Live life.
Live life, I think, you know.
Do some exploring. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
But I don't think it's worth endangering your life too much, do you know what I mean?
No.
So, you know, that you know, you're more likely to have an accident, you know.
Well, I was going to say, some people, yeah, they are literally like adrenaline junkies, I think they call them, don't they? People that are hooked on adrenaline, they're always doing the next most dangerous thing.
Yeah.
They kind of get like a rush or a high or some kind of feeling of like you know, accomplishment from it, you know. But like you say, that's not my cup of tea either.
I mean, even when we're driving, you know, on the roads and all that, you know, it's more like the younger people causing accidents. They enjoy driving fast, do you know what I mean? And because they're experiencing the road for the first time in a kind of way, they're, you know, it's fun to them in a funny way, you know, and they, I don't know, you know, they're a little bit more dangerous, let's put it that way.
Young and kind of reckless. Yeah.
There's often crashes out there and young people losing their lives, you know.
Yeah.
To be honest, I personally think they should higher the age when you can drive. I feel like you need to be a bit more.
I agree. I think personally, right, mate. Some people might hate me for saying this, might not like it, but I think people should be 21.
Yeah. At
least. Allowing a 16-year-old who can't even buy alcohol or cigarettes from the shop.
Can drive a car, it's wrong, isn't it?
Can drive a car at 16 years old. Yeah. A lot of these 16-year-olds you meet today, they're not even mature in any way, shape or form, if you see what I mean. They're really kind of like...
Some of them are. you know,
you get a few, but I find a large majority of them, unfortunately.
I feel like if they've been brought up properly, yeah. You know, but it's very few.
But
you know,
you get a lot of them that are young and they're easily influenced by, you know what I mean, their friends or negative or.
But you know what it's like at that age.
Of course, yeah. That age, peer pressure.
You can't wait. You can't wait to leave school. So you get a car, right?
Yeah.
You know, especially these boys. You know, they get these big cars, you know, with these engines and all this kind of stuff to impress, girls, basically.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it works.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, you know. People, you know, a lot of girls like a car.
Yeah.
You know, they like a man with a car.
Yeah.
That's all that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't blame them in a way. You know, I mean, I've never liked cars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I love insects, you know. And when I was married, I think it bothered my wife that I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
That's why she ended up separating me, you know, in a funny way, you know. Because I think, like, you know, most women really want a man with a car, or they drive themselves, you know.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. But that, you know, cars, traffic, all this travel, you know, it makes life more dangerous. Yeah. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's making, you know, it's not always been like this, you know, like crazy roads everywhere, you know, and lots and thousands of cars. It's not always been like this, you know. And I just feel that the world's getting, I think, like, actually since the shutdown, alright, and the prices going up, it has sort of filtered the cars, because I know that there'll be a lot more. If let's say petrol, they put, you know, it's quite cheap at the moment. I'd say there'd be a lot more people on the road. Right? You know what I mean? They'd be joyriding now for the day, but because the price didn't go up, they can't afford to go out. Or it's like my mum, she can't come up here so often, come and see me, because it costs an arm and a leg now. Do you know what I mean? It never used to 10 years back, but now it does.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's taking a lot of people, or controlling the roads a little bit, you know, by making, that's what they're doing really. They say that the only things that go up and down in price is petrol. Everything else goes up, like sugar.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Petrol goes up and down.
Yeah, it fluctuates.
Sometimes it might go down, you see, you know, but
well,
sugar don't do that.
Well, I guess gold and silver and those kind of things do as well, if you see what I mean. They kind of fluctuate like oil, if you see what I mean. But like you said, in regards to food and stuff like that, though, it predominantly always goes up. Like you said, it always, you know, it does always go up. You know, it's very rare that the food price will come down.
I think that the oil, in a kind of way, controls everything in a funny way. You know, a little bit. You know, we are living in a world today that we rely on oil and electricity.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. You know? It's very true. Yeah. But yeah, life isn't easy, you know. Well, and I want people to also remember that life is like a roller coaster ride, you know. It's kind of like oil; it fluctuates, like you were just talking about. It goes up and down, you know. Some days are going to be good. Well, hopefully most days are good, but there will be some times. There will be. Everyone has trials and tribulations in which they have to deal with in their life. Whether it be from a young age or as you get older and whatever else, if you see what I mean, becoming an adult or whatever. Yeah, you know, everyone has obstacles to overcome in life. You know, we're all going to make mistakes in life. We're all going to mess up, but it's about learning from these things and growing from them and using them as a lesson to kind of evolve, if you see what I mean, and not getting stuck in the same kind of like way of thinking or the same like negative patterns of behavior that are causing negative results in your life. So yeah, I think it's just about, you know, it's a learning experience. You know, life is literally a learning experience. To me, the objective of life is to continually grow and evolve as a person, not just like to become stagnant in your way of thinking or, you know, whatever, you know. So
I mean, I'm nearly 60 now, and I feel like I've had an interesting life, very interesting, you know, but it's not been perfect like I wanted it to be, you know, or wished it to be. It's not been, you know, like I said, my parents separated, and I've been through a couple of divorces myself, which I didn't really want. But now I do. Now I look back at my life, I'm glad that my wife did divorce me, you know, because I don't know, you know, at the time I didn't want it, but now, you know, I'm glad. I'm pleased. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. You feel like you're better off because of it.
Yeah, I feel freer. That's for sure. More independent.
Yeah.
I just feel like life, you can look at it different angles of it, you know. Yeah, I mean, in life you don't even have to get married, really, or necessarily have a child. Do you know what I mean? You know, to have a life, if you see what I mean. You know, you can live a life. Some people do, don't they? They don't have no children, they're single and they go skiing and do this and do that, do you know what I mean? And because, I mean, a child, that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, so some people don't do that because of the cost, you know, they'd rather sort of be selfish and, you know, not do that, do you know what I mean? I mean, there's all kinds of people out there. You know?
Of course, yeah.
You know, they're all individual and...
I think children, obviously I know some people choose not to have children or can't have children or whatever the case may be, and that's absolutely fair enough. But I will say, as someone who has kids myself and as a parent, kids bring you so much joy and so much happiness to your life. Like, just being able to wake up every day and know that your children are okay, like they've got a roof over their head, they've got clothes, they've got food, like everything that they want and need is looked after, and they're happy, and you know what I mean, just they bring you so much joy and happiness, honestly. Like my son, like I can't believe, like my son, I've said it before, my son is almost 11 soon, my daughter will be 5 soon, and just it's, you know, those